Well, Sam, you've had to be very patient. It must be very difficult sitting on the bench all those games.
Uh, yeah, it is quite difficult. I think I've been in the game long enough to know that's the position of goalkeeper. If you're not playing, you are waiting a long time either for an injury, a suspension, or a loss of form. And I don't necessarily think it was either of them either. Just hoping that the manager, if you're training well and playing training right, that the manager gives you the opportunity. He made a few changes, so yeah, it was nice to get a game.
Yeah, but you're training with Smudge all day, every day, aren't you? And do you become friends as well as rivals for that spot?
Yeah, it's a different kind of relationship between goalkeepers compared to most footballers. I think you understand that only one of you can play. It's not like you can come on and get 5-10 minutes here and there, and yeah, you kind of got to help him both ways. I mean, if he was having a bad time, I'd be there to help him and encourage him and talk through anything he wants to, and same the other way. And then I'd be fully supportive of him when he's playing well. And I think recently he's made a few really important saves in games where we've ended up either getting a draw or getting a win. So yeah, he's done well, and you can't be bitter because that's the role of a goalkeeper. There is goalkeepers out there that will go through their whole career and probably not play more than 50 games in it because they just sit on the bench and wait. And you've just got to be aware of that and acknowledge it. You're not happy not playing, no footballer is, but you have to acknowledge that there is roles to be done throughout a season.
But there are a few games in between the league games, aren't there? So one or two development games maybe, but again, I guess you can't risk injury yourself.
Yeah, I don't mind playing them. I do like to play in the development games because I'm one of them that likes to play football no matter what. However, I think throughout a season and having a development team, it's also kind of unfair on Tom and Alexi not to play in them games. That's what they're here for. They're here to develop themselves. But yeah, quite rightly, when there is a few games like that, then I will want to play in some of them because it can go for a period of a month where you haven't played a game. So yeah, you do kind of you want to play in them, but I understand my role at my age in my career. There's a 19 and 20-year-old here that needs them development games as well.
And you train with them as well, okay, not every day, but occasionally?
No, we near enough see them every day, but we're not always with them. They train with us sometimes, and vice versa. And if we feel we need a little bit extra, then we'll maybe go and train with them as well. The other day when it was we were up on the GFA, I did a little bit extra with Mildy and Tom and Liam actually from the under-18s. He was up, and yeah, I always feel that I like to train with the young lads because I like to learn from other people, but I also feel I like to help people as well. So it is nice to train with them.
You've got quite a group, haven't you, with the three younger ones and yourself and Smudge, and then there's Steve Mildenhall and Stuart Naylor as well. It's quite a big group.
Yeah, it is a big union here. There's you're not quite. You don't get that very often, kind of in League One and League Two. Yeah, most managers would probably want to spend their goalkeeper budget on two good goalkeepers and not carry a second-year YT or a third-year YT and two development goalies because that's budget they could spend elsewhere. But credit to the club and credit to the manager here, they do. And yeah, it's good to kind of get that tight-knit bond between you and help each other. And look, for them too, in the development squad, their goal will be to get a career within football, and I feel part of my role here as a footballer is to try and aid them in that as well as the coaches that are here.
Does it give you a taste for the future maybe after you finish playing? I know that's some way off, but I know you want to play for a long time. Yeah.
Touch wood.
I mean, Mildy, you played with Mildy at Scunthorpe, for example. Did you see him as a coach in that time?
Yeah, you know as well as I do, he loves talking, so you always knew that he was going to be some kind of coach or still in football. I think the sessions he puts on and the type of coach he is, he's very good as a development coach. He puts some excellent sessions on, and kind of at different stages in your career you kind of need different things, but as a young goalie they should be really excited and they should feel privileged that they get to work with Mildy because he's very good. For myself, yeah, in the future that's probably one avenue I want to go down. I do want to stay in football and coaching, and eventually possibly management as well. But you don't see many goalkeepers getting the opportunity at that level. So,
well, it could be a first.
Yeah,
or one of the few.
Yeah, there's not many. I think was Blackwell one at one point.
Shilton tried it one time.
Yeah. And my old manager Nige, he was a goalie, but yeah, like I said, not many of them get the opportunity. But yeah, long term, that's kind of what I would like to do. Doesn't always go where you want to go.
Looks like that's a long way off anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about your season with the Rovers. It's been quite eventful, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think for the past couple of years, wherever I've been, I've always kind of said, as long as you're in the hunt around Christmas, if you're within touching distance, it gives you the opportunity to have a good finish to the season. Realistically, look, we didn't have the greatest of start, and that put us on the back foot a little bit. If you'd have picked up, I don't know, 2 or 3 extra wins during that first period of the season, we'd maybe be looking in not a very different position. We could be similar, but we'd be a little bit closer touching distance to where we want to be. But at Blackpool last year, I think about end of February, I didn't think we would get anywhere near the playoffs. We had a late run. I know you get the extra spot in League Two, and we got there. But the form we've shown kind of since Christmas, and I think you was the same last year, you had a very strong end to the season. The form we've shown recently and going into the end of the season, if we can have that late run, you never know what can happen. It's going to be difficult. We've got some tough games coming up. But yeah, it's been a bit of an up and down season, and that's maybe shown a bit with our away form. So it was nice to kind of, I think that's been coming the past couple of weeks, maybe months as well, the away form. It's been turning games earlier in the season where we'd maybe lose 2-1, 3-1, 2-0. We've been grinding out a draw, or it's been a very close 1-0 loss or a 2-1 loss. We started to get a bit more nasty and tougher away from home and stay in the game, and I think that's what you need to do, especially with how well we play at home here.
Just, I mean, as a group, you're obviously looking up the table. Are you eyeing a playoff place? Do you think that's achievable, or is it too soon to say?
I think it is a little bit too soon to say, but the important thing for us is we've given ourselves the opportunity to be within that talk, be in that bracket of they could get there. Every player in that dressing room wants to finish as high as we can. That's no matter what. But like I said, we've given ourselves the opportunity to be within that conversation, and it's going to be tough. We've got a few tough games. Obviously, the Wigan game will be quite tough, but that's been rearranged. We've got other people who are fighting for it. Peterborough, I think we've got Charlton at home. So results in them can quickly change the league with you playing against each other. But yeah, we'll take each game as it comes. And if we can get there, we can get there. If we can't, it won't be for the lack of trying.
Talk about your game last Saturday, because it's a while since you played in the first team, but a clean sheet and a victory, you must have been pleased with it.
Yeah, I thought the lads played fantastic. Like I said earlier, the gaffer made a few changes. Maybe freshened legs up, bit of change of shape, bit of change tactically, but the young lad Russie did really well. Came in, played his way into the game. And yeah, it was a very good performance from us, I thought. Discipline in the fact that late on they had a spell, especially once we went 1-0 up, they kind of took a bit more caution to the wind and pushed on a bit, and we dug in and dealt with that. The gaffer made a few changes substitution-wise and tactically, and that allowed us to hold out in the game. But I think for all the possession they had, don't really feel they threatened us a lot. They had one ball late on that they flashed across the front, and they had one shot. Other than that, don't think it was too taxing for myself. It was just a case of staying concentrated within the game, and like I said, the lads were brilliant.
I was going to say, your concentration must be one of your key skills or in a game like that, when they're not, they have possession but not threatening you too much. Yeah,
you tend to find that they're the kind of the big moments for goalkeepers. You can go 89 minutes without doing something, and then you have to be able to perform the task that you train all week to do. On that 89 minutes you might be tired, but like you say, concentration is a massive thing. And luckily, like Smudge, myself, it's something that we not kind of work on in training, but the way that training sessions are set up, you do work on it subconsciously, because they might be attacking down the far end for 10-15 minutes while you're at the other end, and then all of a sudden you've got to come in and you've got to do your bit. So it is things that subconsciously you work in training, but like you say, it's very important for us.
How vocal are you with your back line? Like, we can't tell sometimes on the sidelines.
I feel that's one of my strengths. I've always kind of, from when I was younger, my coaches when I was younger, they always kind of said, look, if you can pass them relevant and important information on, and the more information they know means the less you have to do, which for me has always stuck with me through the game, through my career. And if I go through a game and only have to make one save, I'm delighted. If I go through a game and get a clean sheet and don't touch the ball, I'm even more happy, and that's credit to them. Yeah. And I just feel that if I can communicate with them and give them the information that they can't see, because from behind I can see a lot more, I feel that's beneficial for them. But like you say, you can't hear it sometimes. They'll be the same. If you're in a big crowd, and especially at home when the crowd gets up, they're very vocal. Sometimes they won't hear it. So you have to have that second kind of nature that you pick up on the training ground when you work, but also, a lot of talking and communication between them helps you massively. And
there's been a lot of changes along that back line throughout the season, and I'm not sure of the best back four or the best back five at the moment. There's a lot of competition.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing, though, the competition. Often players can get a little stale if they know that they're going to play or they're set in their position. I think that competition, it creates a little bit of pressure, and I think if you're a professional footballer, you thrive on pressure. You're not going to get to that level if you can't deal with it, and it keeps that buzz and that kind of like bit of desire. You're always going to be disappointed not to play, but that competition between lads to play, and the fact that we do make them changes. It's not as if there's competition but the same back four play every week. We make the changes, and the gaffer makes the changes as he sees fit. If he changes tactically, I don't know, not fitness wise because they're fit, but when you play a lot of games in a short space, sometimes you can get that extra edge by making a change because they're fresher. And I think the lads here, they understand that the gaffer's like that, and it works. And yeah, it can give you that extra edge, but the important thing is, like you said, you don't know which one's the best, so we must have good competition between the players that are there.
Finally, I just ask you about the crowds, home and away, really. I mean, you must be impressed with
the travelling fans have been fantastic, considering that a lot of the games here are a good drive.
All right for you.
For me personally, they're quite nice. But yeah, the fans are magnificent effort. Most away games, in fact, the majority, I can't really remember any that wasn't, especially the weekend. I mean, the road conditions, the closer you got to MK, was not great. So for them to say that there was no issues, I mean, I think everyone was safe and fine, but they wasn't the best. So for them to travel there, and at home, when they get going, it's almost like having an extra player. I can remember playing here twice against you. The second time for Oxford, the crowd was unbelievable, and it genuinely did feel like almost feisty, and you got that feeling from the crowd, and it's a great buzz. So to have them on your side, I can see it is a bit of a mental edge, and it's good.